good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are watching us from. This is Connect with Comfort Show. I am your regular host, Comfort Eyitayo. You are most welcome to today's show. I'm glad you are able to join us. Today's session is on managing people for superior performance. As leaders and managers, one of our key responsibilities is to bring out the best in our teams and create an environment where they can thrive and excel. Today, we will delve into the strategies and approaches that can help us achieve this goal. Managing people is an art that requires a deep understanding of individual motivations, strengths, and aspirations. It involves fostering a culture of collaboration, empowerment, and continuous learning. When we effectively manage our teams, we can unlock their full potential, drive productivity, and achieve exceptional results. Today, we will explore various techniques and best practices that can help us inspire and engage our team members. We will discuss ways to set clear expectations, provide constructive feedback, and create opportunities for growth and development. Additionally, we will address the importance of recognizing and appreciating the contributions of our employees, as well as strategies for resolving conflicts and promoting a positive work environment. Remember, managing people for superior performance is not just about achieving short-term goals. It's about cultivating long-term successes by nurturing our employees' talents and empowering them to reach new heights. I hope by the end of this session, you will leave with practical ideas and inspirations to enhance your leadership skills and create a high performing team. So, without much ado, let us go and explore the world of managing people for superior performance. Our distinguished guest is already in the house, but we will go on a very short break and we'll be right back to take on our guest. Please remain connected. We'll be right back. Thank you.
The one commodity that is most valuable on this earth is time. Time to love, time to live. From the moment the human body is born, it begins dying. I don't think you quite caught that. Let me say it again. From the moment the human body is born, it begins dying. Some happen faster, some happen slower. Some of us help them go faster, and some of them prevent it from happening sooner than later. How many seconds, how many minutes do we waste every day doing things that are nowhere near the goals and aspirations and passions that we have inside? How many times do you go through the course of a day and realize, did I do anything I set out to do today? Write down those goals each and every day. No matter if it's 2 goals a day, if you can accomplish those, then you're doing more than just making it through the day. You are living and achieving your dreams. Find time to better yourself, read, explore, research, live life, do things you've never thought of doing before. That's what it's all about. When you're born, that's that date that they put on the left side of the tombstone. When you die, they put another date on the right side of the tombstone. But that dash in the middle is the most important thing on that tombstone. That is a line that throughout that entire time frame, you were able to impact and touch others' lives. You were able to leave your mark on this earth. You were able to build a legacy that nobody could change. You were able to have it to where people remembered who you are no matter what.
You're welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that video, particularly the points made in there that from the day they are born, you start dying. It sounds strange, but true. And further stressing that by saying on the tombstone, you have a date to the left, a date to the right. The left is when you are born, the right is when you pass on. The dash in between is the one we live. That's the period we live in the world and able to do all that we desire. So telling us we should put all our effort to do the much we can while we are alive and enjoy living. So on that note, I want to welcome our guests already with us in the house. The distinguished guest for today's interesting topic is Mr. Chuks Karl Ogwu. He is a business consultant and a trainer. We are glad to have you with us today, and we are happy that you are able to join us on Connect with Comfort show, and appreciative that you are ready to share your wealth of experience and knowledge on this very interesting topic with us. Thank you very much. You are welcome.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So we go straight to the first question to examine this topic, and that is, what are the key qualities or characteristics of a superior performing employee?
Okay, so thank you very much for the question. I think for me, I would say one of the key qualities for a superior performing employee is self-understanding and self-management. Because most times when employees are employed, if you didn't have the required technical skills to take on that role, in most cases, you wouldn't have that job. And so it means that most of the people that come into the workplace already have been vetted in some way to possess the skill required for that role. But most people fail at that role because they do not understand themselves and they are not able to manage themselves within the capacity of the role that they are currently occupying or playing in the workplace. So for me, I would say that first of all, it is absolutely important that the employee understands themselves. They are able to manage themselves, and in that in itself, it leads to being able to manage their time and their resources at their disposal. Because we found out that most people, it is not the lack of skill that makes them not to be high performers in the workplace, but a combination of factors, because, in a workplace, people work collectively as a team towards an objective. Either you're in a unit or you're in a department and all of that. So there are a couple of factors that may hinder performances. But I think overall, the key and the most critical one, I would say, is self-understanding and managing self.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think that is quite true, because if you do not understand the job you are to do, then it will be difficult for you to perform very well in that job. So understanding the job as well as understanding yourself, your ability to do that job and be able to manage yourself to do that job will result to having a high performing employee. Thank you very much. How can managers effectively motivate their employees to achieve superior performance?
Thank you for that question. One of the things that has amazed me in a couple of years on the job is finding the contrast. When people volunteer, probably in the church or in the mosque, volunteers are always high performers. They go on time, they do things, they meet their targets without being paid. And sometimes you see people who are in high paying jobs, they are not as motivated as volunteers. And it has always, baffled me, knowing that money is not the ultimate source of motivation for staff. And so this leads me to the point which I'll be making now, and that is the fact that everybody wants what is a need for me. And if you're not able to tie that what is a need for me to the corporate goals of the organization, you are not able to motivate people long term. So everybody has an agenda, a plan, or a direction in which they want their corporate journey to go. And if the organization or the HR team is not able to tie that personal goal in line with organizational goals, where people can see direction in their trajectory, motivation levels would always drop. And so sometimes people think it's by throwing in more money or giving them more bonuses and all of that. And you give bonuses and you see that these people are not as motivated or are not as committed, to the work that they are doing. So we found out that over time it is people understanding what is the need for me. Do I have a stake in this? And is my stake being protected? Once people know that they have a stake in what they are doing, you don't even need to remind them to come to work. They are self-motivated, they are self-driven, they have an entrepreneurial mindset in that job in which they are doing. So you don't have to, push them with KPIs or annual targets and all of that. They work for themselves. They are employees with an entrepreneurial mindset because they know where they are going. And so that drives the motivation for them.
Okay, I hear you loud and clear. That is like an alignment of personal goals of employee with corporate goals. Because if they are in tandem, then we have a what people call meeting of the mind, so to say, so that people can perform alongside the corporate goal. And then also very key words there, having an entrepreneurial spirit or mindset. That's also like a go-getter kind of person. So that also drives motivation. Thank you very much. What role does goal setting play in managing people for superior performance?
What goal setting does, it brings a lot of clarity. It brings a lot of clarity and it erases a lot of ambiguity. Sometimes when we set goals or people have, goals that they are working towards, if there is no clarity, people can shoot in different directions. But once a goal is clearly distilled to the employees and everybody can see the part they play in alignment of this goal, it brings a lot of clarity and speed. So in essence, in answering that question, I would say that the role that goal setting plays is that it brings a lot of clarity and speed in achieving, results. And then at the end of the day, people can actually track performance. We can track where we are vis-a-vis the goal that we have set for ourselves, and then we can see how much progress we've made, and if there are places that we'll need to make amends, we can easily make amends based on the goals that have been set.
Very true. Thank you very much for that. How can managers provide constructive feedback and support to help employees improve their performance?
So why constructive feedback is absolutely very important. A lot of managers fail at this because employees most times think that they are being witch hunted or they are being castigated. I think that where some managers get it wrong is that when employees are doing the right thing or performing, they do not give feedback. It is only when feedback is negative that managers give feedback. So people tend to take feedback as a negative word, not a positive word in essence. So if you can give feedback on the job when there are positives, it makes the person, the employee accept negative feedback also, because the employee knows that you have this character of giving feedback, not just negative feedback or trying to castigate the person's role or the person's work. So I think that the way employees can receive feedback is if the manager also gives positive feedback time to time, so that when the negative feedback comes, the person is able to receive it and understand that this is not a personal vendetta in the workplace.
That is very true, very true, because it should be both good and bad times. You should encourage with feedback when somebody is performing well, so that when there's a bit of shortfall, that person will understand that after all, when I was doing it right, I was commended. That is very, very true. Thank you for that beautiful answer. What strategies can managers employ to identify and develop the potential of high performing employees? What strategies?
So I think to identify high performing employees, most times within the system already has metrics for tracking performance, and the system itself can identify those that are performing really very well. But the key will be to develop, because in terms of tracking, there's already a lay down system that is able to identify that. But developing high performance employees will be the responsibility of the manager, and that has to do with the manager understanding his team and understanding those that work with him, understanding their weaknesses and their strengths, understanding how they work and how they perform. Because sometimes people might be high performing, but not put in strategic places that will make them perform. So it is now left for the manager to be able to identify. And once you are able to identify, then you can develop in terms of increasing capacity for most of your will I say members of your team, understanding those that need to go for training programs, or those that you need to give more responsibilities in terms of developing their capacity and their ability to deliver on such projects. And then that basically what I think the answer to this question will be is the ability of the manager to understand their team. When you understand your team, then you are even it makes it easy in terms of the developmental process. And then you are able to because in teams, you don't what I see most times is that because the organization is really large, we try to do the one size fits it all for everybody. But if you understand the dynamics of each member of the team, then it becomes easy for each person to perform at their unique strengths and develop in that line.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. In the same line, we've talked about how to encourage and develop high performance. What techniques or approaches can managers also use to address underperformance and help employees to reach their full potentials?
So normally, within the context of organizations, what the manager would likely do is to speak with the human resource department, and then probably the person is put on a performance improvement plan, which would now help the person, and then they guide the person with specific steps and programs, and then evaluate at the end of the day to see if that improvement has been made. But it goes back to answering the way I answered the last question, that if the manager also has clarity or understanding of these team members, then you know when a team member is a round peg put in a square hole. If you understand, so for it, let me just give a quick example. You have somebody who talks a lot, and the person is able to easily connect with people, crack jokes, and then is not, and the person is in an accounting function. And as a manager, you know that for an accounting function, you need somebody who is articulate, somebody who is focused, somebody who is careful and very consistent with numbers. And so obviously you already know that there's someone in your team who may have the accounting function but performs better in another unit or department. It's now left for that, so that person may naturally struggle in that department. So it's left for you to be able to say, you know what, you are struggling here. Can we reassign this person to a job function that that person will be more adaptive to, given the skills that the person has? And I think that's a better way to help somebody that is underperforming. And then if the person, after being given several opportunities, then obviously then the organization may have to do what needs to be done.
Very good. How does effective communication contribute to managing people for superior performance?
So communication is the lifeblood of any organization. If you do not, what I see, a lot of organizations give information, and information is not the same thing as communication. So people communicate, but that last part of communication, which is feedback, is usually lacking in the workplace. So emails are sent, text messages are sent, or WhatsApp messages are sent, but managers don't take the time to see or to find out if that information is understood with the feedback that they get. And sometimes people get disorientated that, I sent you to do this, and the person is doing something else. Especially because communication is a function of, the I mean the medium in which communication, is passed through, has a lot to do with the way the person is able to assimilate at the end of the day. And a lot of things play to people being able to interpret what you have said within the context in which you have said it. So you might say something, language, culture, experiences, so many things play a major role in people being able to interpret and articulate information. And so that is why communication, if you're able to solve the issue of communication, you have solved the problem of the organization almost 80 or 70%, because once communication is faulty, there's really nothing that can be built on in that organization. So
Very,
it
very
plays a
true.
very crucial role.
Yeah, it's actually at the hills of understanding even the job function. It's when it is well communicated and well understood that an employee would know what is expected of him or her. So communication is very key. Thank you for that. What are some best practices for recognizing and rewarding exceptional employees when they perform very well?
So companies employ quite a number of you know methods or techniques, to reward performing employees. Sometimes, they are rewarded with, promotions. They are promotions on the job. Sometimes, people are given bonuses. At other times, I know organizations that even want to give, share options to performing employees, just to make sure that They are able to spur them in the direction in which um, they want the employees to go. But then again, like I said, when we answer the first question, it's always very important that the organization understands what drives the employee so that they are not rewarding out of context. If you understand what drives the employee, then you are able to better plug in to that employee for a long term so that you are able to keep the best of your staff and you don't have them, living at their prime within the organization.
Okay. So, how can managers foster a positive work environment and team culture that enhances employee performance?
So culture is, people always say culture will eat strategy at any time. Culture is key, and managers always need to understand that the strength of the team is as good as the weakest link in the team. And so it is important to understand that the team needs to support itself. The team needs to support itself. There are situations where, organizations support the strongest part of the team, and then the weakest links are easily weeded out. But if you have a culture that is inclusive and supportive, and this can only be fostered within a community where there is trust, where I know that if I support you and you succeed, you won't take the shine yourself. Once there is trust, the culture of inclusiveness is built, and that team spirit is built. But where there is distrust amongst employees, then usually that willingness to support, even when you know that you will not directly benefit from the achievement of other team members, it becomes a problem. So I think that the fundamental is building a culture where there is trust, so that everybody can work together, irrespective of their job functions.
Very true. Thank you very much. Please, we'll go on a short break right now. Remain connected. We'll be right back.
Okay.
These dry bones will rise again, 'cause the stone has been rolled away. At the touch of living water, yeah, yeah. This broken branch will live again. These fallen walls will be restored, says the Lord. So his voice as he calls, come forth, arise, come alive. It's not over till Jehovah says, yeah. Arise, come alive. Mighty soldier, you must fulfill your destiny. Yeah.
You welcome back. Welcome back. We still have our guest in the house. And the next important question is on potential challenges or barriers in managing people for superior performance and how they can be overcome. So, what are these potential challenges?
So, I mean, communication is a major one. When the communication, there is lack of clarity in terms of communication, managing people becomes a major challenge because you're not able to reach them. You're not able to communicate, what and how you want, and even you're not able to support them also. because communication has not been effective. Another thing, like we talked about, is the issue of lack of trust, especially because we're also in an environment where trust is a currency, and the lack of it is really,
Very low.
yeah, it's across board. Even managers don't trust employees, business owners don't trust. I mean, the lack of the trust deficiency in business
Efficiency, yes,
spheres
high,
is really very high.
very
So
high.
without that, you're not able to manage people. People trust you that whatever you are doing is in their best interest. And if they don't trust you, you're not able to manage them for effective performances. And then sometimes, even when when we design teams so that teams can perform, those teams also become a major impediment for managing people for superior performances, because sometimes those teams now begin to work in silos instead of collaborating, as if people are competing against themselves,
Yes.
forgetting that it is one organization. So whether it is sales that is shining today and accounts is a support department, account or HR should be able to support sales, understanding that when sales brings in the money, all of us will get paid. And so if you are not able to help people break away from this silo mentality within the workplace, then it becomes very difficult to manage them for effective performances. Again, sometimes you need people to also be able to have, like we said initially, have that entrepreneurial mindset, so that they are able to be growth orientated, so that you 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 within the workplace, they are not reduced to, what will I call it now,
Yes.
to people
What
who
to
just
do?
take instructions. Yes, robots are just taking
Yeah.
instructions. Yeah, they are able to ask questions, especially, and I'm sure, Ma, you would have noticed this, especially in our climate, that managers, even when managers are wrong, their subordinates are not able to tell them
Let's tell
or
them.
even question them or even make recommend. Everything is yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. And if you manage people that are not able to tell you the truth or able to
Mhm.
call you to accountability, then it impedes on their performances also, because they
Mm.
can only go as far as where their manager can take them to. So it's
Yeah.
absolutely important. Yes.
So we need to overcome these challenges. We need to design strategies to overcome these challenges, as you have rightly
Absolutely.
pointed out. So, would you care to tell us just one of such strategies that can be adopted to overcome the challenges?
So one of the things we encourage people to do, is having regular bonding sessions where they are able to bond, outside the context of the workplace. Because what we found
Where
out
to
is that,
free with
yeah,
themselves and
where they can free themselves, where people are not phone numbers or email addresses, where
yes,
people,
see them
and
as
yeah, you see them as human beings. You're able to
human
talk to
beings.
them, their families and all of that. Those bonding sessions help to break the ice, and then you are able to break those barriers.
Okay. So, how does ongoing professional development and training contribute to improving employee performance?
So, that is I mean, it is you cannot overemphasize the importance of continuous self development. So as appraisals are done, as evaluations are done, the gaps are always identified. And the only way to bridge some of these gaps is by continuous improvement, um, and and development. As organizations evolve in terms of the way they do businesses, in terms of the probably the methods in which they want to deliver, it beckons on the manager to understand that there will always be gaps that needs to be filled in terms of the human capacity and the people that are working with him or for him in that capacity. And so it's really important that we are able to identify what those gaps are. Sometimes people generalize trainings, and it's okay to generalize, but you will not get the import of the training if you do not specifically understand the skills gap that needs to be bridged. Because at the end of the day, training just becomes an item that cannot be accounted for at the bottom line. But if you are able to understand the specific need that needs to be bridged, then at the end of the day, you can actually see how training and development, yes, adds to the bottom line at the end of the day. But most times it's just a jamboree. We just want to meet up our training budget. We just want to fill it up. And
to fulfill all righteousness.
At the end of the day, we are asking ourselves, how does this add to the bottom line? And then we are not able to make, we are not able to answer those questions.
Thank you very much. How can managers effectively handle conflicts or interpersonal issues that may impact employee performance?
So I tell people that as you grow as a in your career. So for example, when you start working, the first thing is people employ you because of your skill. But as you get to the managerial level, you don't become a manager because you're an accountant. You become a manager because you are someone who will manage other accountants. So your accounting skill is important, but also your human and emotional levels are also very important, because now you are not just managing a process, you are managing people who manage the process. So one of the key skills that you need to have as a manager is that you need to keep growing your levels of emotional intelligence. And that is a way that you are able to tap into, understand the people you're working for, understand the environment, and then you are able to use all of that information to manage situations and circumstances, so that you are not sporadic in your actions. You are able to beautifully tie everything together, especially because you have a goal to achieve. So I would say that it beckons on managers to grow their levels of emotional intelligence so that they can better manage the people within, their units or departments.
Very true. So if I were to ask for parting shots, what would that be on this topic? You have given us a lot of insights, and we are appreciative of that. But what's your parting shot?
So my parting shot would be that organizations, we need to understand that the human asset is one of the best assets that any organization can have. And it is very important that we pay a lot of attention, especially because of the generation in the workforce now. It's you have very young people that are very, very dynamic in nature, unlike the people that were in the workforce in previous years. So organizations need to better learn how to understand these people, how to motivate them, and then how to manage them to perform. Yeah. Okay. So better manage them for better performances. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have really dealt with the topic very well, and all the questions, we are highly appreciative. The in-depth that you have exposed on this very interesting topic have given us boost up our knowledge on how to manage people for better performance. Once again, we want to appreciate you for your time, for knowledge head, and the great insights that you have thrown into this topic. Thank you very much. I hope next time when we come calling, you will not consider us as Oliver Twist. You will accommodate us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So we'll go on a very short break and we'll be right back. Please remain connected. You are welcome back. We are back to the segment of the wrap up and conclusion segment. I hope you have enjoyed the show so far. Just to draw more attention on the high points our guests have made us to understand on this very interesting topic, we need to set clear communication performance expectations and goals for our teams. That is, we need to set smart, what we call smart, specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant time bound objectives for proper clarity. And our guest made us to understand the effectiveness of communication. Communication, in fact, on 3 or 4 questions, this communication was highlighted because it's very key for us to have that skill to foster a culture of open dialogue and feedback. And we have been told feedback should not be when things are going wrong. When employees are doing well, we should commend them. It's a form of feedback so that our complaint when they are not doing as good as we expect will not be seen to be negative. So that was very instructive. So we need to learn to listen to our team members, understand their concerns. As he has also told us, we should not look at them in terms of phone numbers and other metrics that we use. We should see them as people who have emotions, and we need to make sure that we align ourselves in that area to address them appropriately. We need to provide that constructive feedback regularly. It should not be a once in a while issue. It should be regular so that you can have better achievement and suggestion for areas of improvement, even for our business. There's need for training on the job. We need to identify where we have gaps to fill in terms of knowledge gap to fill, and not just to generalize training. He has even told us this. Training is not taken as just spending the budget head to fulfill righteousness, but to a training that will reflect or impact positively on the bottom line at the end of the day, so that whoever is trained is having a positive impact in the development and growth or progress of the business. So we need to also remember that recognition and reward is also a form of feedback. We should acknowledge and appreciate efforts and achievements of our team members to make sure that we are fair to them, and then we have a transparent reward system so that nobody will think they have been sidelined or unfairly treated. So that is also an important message that we need to take away with us. Empowerment and delegation. We need to delegate tasks and responsibility based on individual strength. We must identify, we're talking about having alignment of personal goals and the corporate goals so that we are heading towards the same direction. Not that the company is going to Ibadan, another person is, the employees are facing a wrong direction. So we need to really align the goals of the employees with that of the company or the business. We need to implement a performance management system that will allow for ongoing feedback and discussion. Then conflict resolution is very key, and that can only be when you understand people you are dealing with, and it must be seen to be fair so that we do not have disgruntled employees on our hand. We should mediate on conflicts as necessary and focus on maintaining positive and productive work environment. That is very key. Employees spend a lot of time, part of their day, at work. The environment must be conducive for them to enjoy and be able to perform ultimately for the business. So personal development and growth should also be encouraged. It's not only the training given by the company, but personal development. You identify areas that you are lacking. So we need to encourage our team members to make sure that they identify the areas where they have lack in terms of knowledge base, and upskill themselves. But more importantly, we as managers, we need to lead by example. It's one thing to say don't do this or give certain rules, and then the employees seeing us as leaders doing different things, doing things differently from what we advise. So we must learn to live by as example. We must demonstrate integrity, professionalism, and a strong work ethic. Is very, very important. We need to cultivate the habit of being a role model for superior performance and inspire our team to excel. In conclusion, managing people or for superior performance is a multifaceted and vital aspect of effective leadership. By fostering supportive and inclusive work environments, setting clear expectations, providing regular feedback and recognition, and investing in employees' development, we can unlock the full potential of our teams. We should remember it is through our collective efforts and commitment to nurture talent that we can achieve outstanding results. I would like to appreciate all our online audience for connecting with us, for sparing time to stay with us and keep in touch with this show. Please, if there is any assistance you need on this topic or any topics that we've treated or any topic at all, let us reach out to us. We will try to get you answers for them. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Comfort Eyitayo. And once you have subscribed, please turn on the notification button, like and share our videos. Stay updated with information about upcoming events, solutions, and offers on my Instagram account at Comfort Eyitayo, as well as my Facebook at Comfort Eyitayo. Till I come your way again, let us embrace the power of effective people management and pave the way for a future of exceptional performance and growth. Thank you very much for staying with us today. Bye for now.